Chapter 11, The Chosen One or the Forbidden One. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Although Ye Chen has always been very lazy and has always looked like he has no desires, he can't let go of the benefits he got. With this mentality, Ye Chen kept moving forward. Not long after, he had turned into a bloody man, covered in blood. He also started bleeding from 7 pores, and ended up with pores all over his body filled with blood. The soul-rending pain and injury gradually began to spread throughout his body, certainly. As the soul continues to be repaired, Ye Chen's soul continues to grow and become stronger. A stick of incense has passed, an hour passed, 1 day passed. Under the nightmare abyss, there seems to be no alternation between day and night. Ye Chen, on the other hand, continued to move forward tirelessly. In all directions and along the way, there is still a desolate and dead scene. The difference from the beginning is that I don't know when it will start. Ye Chen discovered that the rules of heaven and earth had actually changed. In addition to the soul being torn apart and repaired, the power of new rules began to act on his flesh, blood, and bones. His flesh, and bones also began to be destroyed and repaired. Now, the pain Ye Chen felt had increased more than 10 times, dual torture of soul and body. The further you go into the depths of the nightmare abyss, the more intense this torture becomes. As time went by, Ye Chen began to rely solely on his will to move forward. The extreme pain had begun to make him confused. Now Ye Chen is like a walking zombie, walking slowly and unsteadily, certainly. After suffering so much, Ye Chen was not without gains. His soul is growing and becoming more and more pure. After repeated tempering of his flesh, blood, and bones, his body also became stronger in a straight line. Although his realm is still at the peak of the late stage of the 9 heavens of the golden core stage, his overall strength has definitely increased by more than 10 times. Outside the entrance to the nightmare abyss, a group of people led by Xuanjizi were still waiting quietly. However, now they are all staring at each other with big eyes and small eyes. His face was filled with incredible expression. Everyone present knew the horror of the nightmare abyss. After entering the abyss, your cultivation will be suppressed to the extreme. Then, the body and soul will be constantly damaged and repaired by the power of rules. Ignore any physique at all and ignore how powerful your soul is. It makes no sense. In the nightmare abyss, to a certain extent, everyone is on the same starting line. Are you physically strong? Strong soul. The damage and repair intensity encountered will also be equal. That being said, the higher the realm, the more advantageous it is to enter the abyss, because, often strong people will have stronger will. I just want to escape from the nightmare abyss no matter what. It's still too difficult. Even in the Mahayana stage and the Xianxia stage, there is no risk of death. Otherwise, why is it a forbidden area? Unless, who can make up his mind to leave the nightmare abyss in the first place? At that time, there is still a chance. However, after entering the nightmare abyss, will anyone experience the sweetness of a stronger soul? How many people are willing to leave directly? As long as we keep moving forward, the risk of falling will continue to increase. At that time, there was no chance to look back. This is also the fundamental reason why not 1 out of 100 people who enter the abyss of nightmares may come out alive. People who survive and become crazy are caused by soul damage. Now, it is not without reason why the people present reacted like this. Everything is because of the soul lamp in Xuanjizi's hand. That's Ye Chen's soul lamp. Not only did this guy's soul lamp not become dim, it showed no sign of going out. On the contrary, the soul lamp actually became more and more dazzling as time went by. Everyone present knows what this means. Ye Chen's soul is getting stronger and stronger without being affected in any way. How did he do it? As expected of junior brother Ye Chen, this is truly unbelievable. You have been doing this for more than 2 days, and yet you are not affected at all and are still getting stronger. Hiss. How did Uncle Yi do it? In the ordinary Mahayana period, you can only last this long at most, right? He is indeed the most talented being in the history of Dao Sect. Alas! It's so irritating that people are so different from each other. Who says it's not the case? I broke through to the Mahayana stage before and entered the abyss of nightmares with full confidence, but I almost didn't come out alive. Too strong. Hearing the discussion around him, a smile appeared on Xuanjizi's lips. This smile is a bit proud. He, a closed disciple, really makes himself proud. Entering the abyss of nightmares in the golden elixir stage, and persisting longer than many Mahayana stages. Did you get a lot of benefits? Good. Really good. However, there was also a hint of worry in his eyes. Xuanjizi understands that the deeper you go into the nightmare abyss, the more dangerous it becomes. Especially after reaching the core area, even the loose immortals are at risk of falling. I really don't know what secrets are hidden in the nightmare abyss. This secret has troubled the entire Dao Sect for tens of thousands of years. The nightmare abyss has existed since tens of thousands of years ago. However, no one has been able to solve its secrets. During this period, I don't know how many people died in it. How many forces in the eastern region suffered heavy losses in order to solve this secret. In the end, this place slowly became a forbidden area belonging only to Dao Sect, because no force wants people to go in and die. Not to mention other forces, hasn't Dao Sect also had no one enter the nightmare abyss for countless years? Looking at the direction of the entrance to the nightmare abyss, Xuanjizi's eyes flashed with expectation. I hope Xiaochen can solve the secret of the nightmare abyss. As for whether Ye Chen can come back alive, Xuanjizi is not too worried about this now. Just a while ago, he secretly spent a lot of cultivation to tell Ye Chen's fortune. As a result, he suffered a backlash. If he hadn't suppressed it forcibly, he almost couldn't help vomiting blood. He knew what this meant. There are only two possibilities. Either Ye Chen was blocked from the secret, protected by the way of heaven. Such an existence would never die young. It is not an exaggeration to say that he is the chosen one of heaven, so how could he die young? If it is another possibility, it would be even more exaggerated, not tolerated by heaven and earth, so he cannot be divined. If this is true, then this kid is a man who defies heaven. In the true sense of defying heaven. This is an existence that only exists in legends. How could a mere forbidden land cause him to fall? No matter which possibility it is, Xuanjizi is very happy in his heart. Doesn't this just prove that his last disciple can surpass the present and the ancient? Chapter 12 Unprecedented Power. Star Core. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, I don't know how long it took, but what drove Ye Chen to continue moving forward was his unyielding will. His consciousness had long been blurred. Ye Chen's flesh, blood, and bones had been damaged and repaired countless times. His soul has experienced shattering and repairing again and again. Compared with when he first entered the nightmare abyss, Ye Chen's body was more than 10 times or 100 times stronger. The meridians are also being continuously broadened and tempered. The same is true for the true energy in his body. If the capacity of true energy in his body was 1 before, then the current capacity is 10, 100, 1000. If the true energy flowing through his meridians before was a trickle, now it is a rough ocean. The true energy has also become pure. Ye Chen's golden elixir has also changed from the size of a fist to the size of a basketball now. His soul has grown more than 10 times. Moreover, the soul has become more condensed, without any flaws or impurities. The only thing that remains unchanged is Ye Chen's state. It is still the peak of the late stage of the 9 heavens of the golden core stage. However, how many times has Ye Chen's overall strength improved? This is really an unknown. The only thing that is certain is that Ye Chen is so powerful now. Sweeping through the golden elixir stage, there is absolutely no problem. Even a cross-level challenge is not impossible. But I don't know how long it took, but after waking up, Ye Chen was stunned, because he also discovered changes in himself. After muttering to himself, Ye Chen showed a shocked expression on his face. Bang! A random punch made a sonic boom sound. There are actually slight cracks in the space, so strong. This was the only feeling Ye Chen felt in his heart at this time, etc. Your own soul. And golden elixir. Hiss, outside the nightmare abyss, around the entrance everyone, including Xuanjizi, was a little unable to sit still. It's been a month, why hasn't my uncle come out yet? Could something happen to him? Bah! Can you speak? It should be fine. Look at his soul lamp, it's as dazzling as the stars. That makes sense. As expected of junior brother Ye Chen, he actually broke the record again. You can actually stay in the nightmare abyss for a month. TSK, TSK, TSK. Too strong. I wonder what kind of transformation will happen to him after he comes out, not to mention other people, even Xuanjizi, who was very confident in Ye Chen, was a little anxious now. 1 month. This kid has actually been in the nightmare abyss for a month. There shouldn't be any accidents, right? I had been there for 20 days before, and my soul almost collapsed. If he hadn't come out in time, he might have died, right? Even so, his records remain for thousands of years, but now. While feeling pleasantly surprised, Xuanjizi's heart was filled with worry, because he understands that the further you go in the nightmare abyss, the more dangerous it becomes. Certainly. The higher the risk, the greater the reward. As long as you can hold on and escape unscathed, the rewards will be proportional. Therefore, Xuanjizi's mood is very complicated now. On the one hand, he hoped that Ye Chen would persist longer and go deeper. This way, you can get a lot of benefits, but on the other hand, he was worried that something would happen to Ye Chen. With this kid's destiny, he will not die, and it is impossible for him to die. However, if there is a problem with the soul, or if there is a Tao injury or something, it will be troublesome. Everyone was outside like ants on a hot pot, but Ye Chen's attention was already attracted by the scene not far away. Now, he no longer cares about studying his own changes. He saw a diamond-shaped purple object floating in the air thousands of feet in front of him. The diameter of the object is about a little over 10 feet. The rhombus-shaped object was surrounded by a strong law of destruction. There is also the law of space, and the law of life that exists or does not exist. Wrong. Isn't this a rule? Is it the power of the avenue? Is this object a stone? Not right either. The next moment, Ye Chen couldn't help but widen his eyes. Star core. This is actually a star core. Suddenly, Ye Chen began to understand a little bit about the laws inside the nightmare abyss. Everything is because of this star core in front of me. My own realm has been suppressed. Maybe it is the power of the space avenue of this star core that is causing trouble, right? Is it because of the power of the great avenue of destruction that my body and soul are constantly being destroyed? What heals oneself is the power of the avenue of life. Looking at the star core, Ye Chen's breathing became a little faster unconsciously. His eyes also showed greedy light. His body was trembling slightly with excitement. Rumor has it that the star core is a heaven-defying treasure that even immortals will fight for. Now that this heaven-defying treasure is right in front of me, I would be sorry if I didn't fight for it. Taking a deep breath, Ye Chen decisively chose to move on. Keep getting closer to the star core. Up to 100 feet. Thousands of feet high. At first, Ye Chen felt very relaxed. It was nothing more than the flesh, bones and soul being destroyed and repaired. He had already adapted to this kind of pain. It was no big deal. However, after he walked 1,000 feet forward, the destructive force acting on his flesh, blood and soul suddenly became more than 10 times stronger. In the blink of an eye, Ye Chen bled again. His soul suddenly became dim. Ye Chen's consciousness was also blurred. His body was also shaky. Outside the nightmare abyss, seeing the changes in the soul lamp in Xuanjizi's hand, everyone's face became very ugly. How did it suddenly go from being as dazzling as a star to being about to go out? What happened? Everyone's face showed anxiety and worry. On Xianxia Peak, Ye Chen's pet, the purple kitten Xiaoqi, suddenly opened his eyes. Meow, that with a low cry, its figure disappeared directly from the original place. Just when Xuanjizi and others were about to enter the nightmare abyss to rescue Ye Chen, suddenly, the entrance to the nightmare abyss collapsed. The formations around them also destroyed themselves. Seeing this scene, everyone's faces were very ugly. The next moment, everyone's faces showed doubtful expressions. Before the entrance to the nightmare abyss collapsed, it seemed that a purple light appeared just now. Shuttled in. There seemed to be traces of space power around. What no one noticed was that Xuanjizi showed a weird expression on his face. Xuanjizi found that the purple figure was Ye Chen's pet Xiaoqi. It actually ran into the nightmare abyss. Did he and his good disciple make a mistake? Isn't it a good-for-nothing kitten? Chapter 13, Fusion of Star Cores, Evolution of the Small World Inside the Body. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In a very tacit understanding, everyone looked at Xuanjizi in unison. Now that the entrance to the nightmare abyss has collapsed and cannot be opened at all, they have no choice. Rest assured. Xiao Tetsuko is okay. After scanning the crowd, Xuanjizi smiled. However, he was secretly smiling bitterly in his heart. There is no way this kid will die. I just don't know how much suffering he will suffer. Well. After hearing Xuanjizi's words, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. That's good. They didn't have the slightest suspicion. Looking at the entire eastern region, and even the entire world of cultivating immortals, who has not heard of the name Xuanjizi? He is one of the 4 famous fortune tellers in the world of immortality. Since the ancestors said so, there must be no problem. Especially, they were even more relieved when they saw that the soul lamp in Xuanjizi's hand was not extinguished. Ye Chen was probably just seriously injured. This is what they are thinking in their hearts at this moment. In the nightmare abyss, the core area, at this time, Ye Chen had already passed out, fell to the ground. The whole person is as angry as a gossamer. If this continues, I'm afraid he will really die. At this moment, Ye Chen's spiritual pet purple kitten Xiaoqi appeared out of thin air, falling into Ye Chen's arms. Meow. Looking up at the star core, the purple kitten shouted angrily. The furry hair on its body stood up at this moment. The next moment, an incredible scene happened. Around the star core, both the power of the avenue of destruction and the power of the avenue of space have actually disappeared. Only the power of the avenue of life bursts out directly. In the end, it fell on Ye Chen. In an instant, Ye Chen's flesh, blood, bones and soul were healed. His whole body is also full of vitality. What's even more incredible is that the star core is continuously getting smaller at a speed visible to the naked eye. Eventually, it became the size of a fist, just like a purple gem. Meow. Xiaoqi shouted at Xianxia, who actually flew towards Ye Chen. Finally, the fist-sized star core was suspended above Ye Chen's body. A dazzling purple light burst out, and it flew directly towards Ye Chen's chest. In the blink of an eye, purple light enveloped Ye Chen and Xing core. Ye Chen also quickly turned into a purple cocoon of light. At this moment, Ye Chen opened his eyes in a daze. What's going on? How is that possible? Ye Chen's eyes widened with disbelief. Soon, he understood what was going on. The way he looked at Xiaoqi became suspicious. His face was also full of shock. What is the origin of Xiaoqi? Can you actually control the star core? Can you make it obey? Thinking about it, Ye Chen had an incredible feeling. This simply subverted his cognition. Is Xiaoqi still the worthless spiritual pet that only eats and sleeps in the eyes of himself and his master? Meow. After calling out to Ye Chen, Xiaoqi landed on his shoulder. Then, she rubbed his face, licked it, curled up on his shoulder and fell asleep. Not long after, the purple cocoon of light surrounding Ye Chen disappeared into his body. Standing up and looking inside his body, Ye Chen was shocked. After the star core entered his chest, it actually merged with his body. This is not the point. The point is, the shape of the star core has actually changed. It's like a small purple whirlpool hiding in your body. Not long after, a small world evolved within the small purple vortex. This small world expanded at an extremely fast speed, 1 mile in radius. 10 miles in radius. 100 miles in radius. In the end, its diameter actually reached a terrifying 300 miles. What makes Ye Chen even more incredible is that this small world with a radius of 300 miles is full of life. No. It should be said that the power of the avenue of life is everywhere. He had reason to believe that any plant grown in this small world would grow at an incredibly fast rate. However, what puzzled Ye Chen was, the power of the avenue of life is in the small world inside the purple vortex. What about the power of destroying the avenue? And what about the power of space laws? Where have they all gone? He remembers it clearly. At the beginning, the surroundings of the star core were filled with the power of these 3 avenues. But now, what's going on? Outside the entrance to the nightmare abyss, both Xuanjizi and others were immediately petrified on the spot. They all looked dumbfounded. Just now, the dim soul lamp in Xuanjizi's hand suddenly became extremely dazzling at a speed visible to the naked eye, then, the entire soul lamp actually broke. This is... Everyone looked at Xuanjizi intently, it's self-evident what they mean. They all want to know, what is going on? The soul lamp can actually be exploded? This simply subverted their cognition. There is only one possibility for the soul lamp to explode. Taking a deep breath, Xuanjizi said with a trembling voice, his eyes also flashed with horror. Xuanjizi's life level has improved qualitatively. Then, Xuanjizi said something else. After hearing his words, everyone had a look of astonishment on their faces. Can the level of life be improved? How is that possible? Even if various divine bodies break through to the level of loose immortal, are they still human in the end? It's just a little stronger. Could it be that this boy has become an immortal? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. In the world of immortality, it is impossible for immortals to exist. Once you become an immortal, you will ascend. There is no way to stay. If someone becomes an immortal, extremely astonishing visions of heaven and earth will appear, but now there is nothing. Etc. Could it be? Involuntarily, everyone thought of another possibility. The secret of the nightmare abyss was solved by Ye Chen. Thinking of this possibility, everyone felt extremely excited. Originally, Ye Chen was very evil. Is that okay now? It seems that he can really lead Dao Zong to the top of the world of immortality again. Thinking of this, everyone's faces were full of excitement. Similarly, Xuanjizi was also extremely excited. This precious disciple of mine is really too outrageous. In the world of immortality, can one's life level actually be improved? This kid is truly unprecedented and unprecedented. I wonder what happened to him in the nightmare abyss. Xuanjizi was very curious about this. Not only them, everyone else present was also very curious. Now they are starting to look forward to Ye Chen's return. After his return, I wonder what surprises he can bring to everyone. What kind of miracle will be created next? Chapter 14: 3 Kinds of Great Satisfaction. The Shock of the Old Monsters. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After studying for a while, Ye Chen showed an ecstatic expression on his face. His eyes were also filled with horror. He had inexplicably comprehended two more artistic conceptions. They were both at the level of great perfection. The artistic conception of space. And the artistic conception of life. Was this forced upon him? All of a sudden, he actually had three great perfection artistic conceptions. It was so cool. Ye Chen looked at Xianxia on his shoulder inadvertently, and a thoughtful expression appeared on his face. It seemed that Xiaoqi's hair was becoming more and more crystal clear. So, the other two kinds of power were divided between him and Xiaoqi. Thinking of this possibility, Ye Chen was excited. This trip to the nightmare abyss was really a great harvest. His golden elixir changed from the size of a fist to the size of a basketball. The amount and quality of the true qi contained in it soared by more than 100 times. The meridians were also widened a lot and became more resilient. The speed of qi circulation has been unprecedentedly improved. I don't need to practice deliberately now. The effect of qi circulation is almost the same as practicing hard. The soul has grown more than 10 times, and it has become extremely pure without any flaws. My flesh, blood, and bones are also full of strength. It is not an exaggeration to say that I am now as energetic as a dragon. The more important and amazing harvest is the fusion of star cores. The purple vortex in my chest has a small world in my body full of the power of the avenue of life. Moreover, this small world can also continuously and slowly absorb some life force around me. TSK. I made a fortune. I really made a fortune this time. Ha ha ha. Ye Chen couldn't help but laugh wildly. After calming down, Ye Chen felt that it was time for him to leave. In particular, he saw an amazing scene. The nightmare abyss actually began to collapse. The collapse range is about to reach him. It's time to leave, Ye Chen muttered to himself. With a solemn expression on his face, he waved his hand casually. The next moment, a space channel appeared in front of him. In an instant, Ye Chen's figure disappeared from the original place. When Ye Chen appeared again, he had landed not far from the original entrance of the nightmare abyss. His appearance attracted everyone's attention at once. Looking at Ye Chen, everyone felt a sense of being in the wind. Is there anything wrong? What happened to this kid in there? All of a sudden, countless thoughts came to everyone's mind. The look they gave Ye Chen was full of curiosity, heartache and confusion. The main reason was that Ye Chen looked too miserable. Blood all over his body. His hair was also messy. His clothes and pants were also tattered. Seeing everyone's eyes and expressions, Ye Chen couldn't help but feel warm in his heart. It feels so good to be cared for. However, soon, countless black lines appeared on his forehead. Xuanjizi. Are you okay? Why are you so miserable? Come here, Xuanjizi, let senior sister see if you are okay. Xuanjizi, what happened in there? Xuanjizi, please speak. I am so anxious. Xuanjizi. Xuanjizi, you. Hearing these words, Ye Chen was so angry that he rolled his eyes. More importantly, he was helpless. Xuanjizi. This name really made him feel extremely painful, but he couldn't beat him. What else could he do? He was also desperate. Bear it first. Ye Chen said in his heart, almost gritting his teeth. Seeing Ye Chen's gloomy and uncertain face, everyone reacted belatedly. This kid doesn't like to hear this name. Unconsciously, they thought of some rumors about Ye Chen some time ago. However, they had no intention of changing their words. It seemed that they were very happy to see Ye Chen being defeated. It must be said that these old monsters are full of evil taste in their hearts. Ahem. Thank you for your concern. That Ye Chen cleared his throat and interrupted everyone. All of a sudden, everyone shut up. It was not until now that they began to observe Ye Chen carefully. You don't know until you see it, and once you see it, they were all stunned. Everyone's face showed a shocked expression, including Xuanjizi, who was used to seeing big winds and waves, was no exception. In an instant, the scene became dead silent. They found that Ye Chen's whole body was full of powerful vitality. A word popped up in their minds unconsciously. Qi and blood are like dragons. At this time, Ye Chen gave them the feeling that he was simply a human-shaped beast. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they would not believe it even if they were beaten to death. A human being can actually have such a powerful vitality and blood. Wait. This kid actually has a faint breath of life and artistic conception. And the breath of space artistic conception? Could it be? Actually. Just when Ye Chen was about to tell what happened in the nightmare abyss, Xuanjizi interrupted him. Okay. Let's all go. Good disciple, you should also go back to Xingqian Peak and have a good rest. Waving his hand, Xuanjizi said in an unquestionable tone. Yes. In the blink of an eye, these old monsters left here one after another. In the end, only Ye Chen and Xuanjizi were left. After a moment of hesitation, Ye Chen also reacted. Master is protecting himself in disguise. As the saying goes, the human heart is unpredictable. If these old monsters knew what he got in the nightmare abyss, who knows if they would be greedy. Master. I am not interested in what happened to you in the nightmare abyss. With a smile, Xuanjizi's figure disappeared from the spot. After a moment of hesitation, Ye Chen breathed a sigh of relief. Soon, he also flew away and returned to his Xingqian Peak. After washing up, Ye Chen was stunned when he looked at himself in the crystal mirror. His skin had become white and rosy. It was like a baby's skin. In addition, his facial features became more three-dimensional and handsome. His eyes also became extremely deep. Tsk. It's really amazing. Ye Chen sighed in his heart. After thinking for a while, Ye Chen decisively hid his blood and cultivation. In a flash, this guy looked like a weak scholar. He was harmless. What Ye Chen didn't know was that his fame in Dao Sect had reached a new peak again. Now, everyone knows that he came out of the nightmare abyss alive, and the nightmare abyss collapsed. Many people are very curious about what he gained in the nightmare abyss. Chapter 15, Cultivation. Cultivation is impossible. You are listening at novelfull.audio. However, Ye Chen had no intention of responding to this question. If he didn't say anything, naturally no one would question him, no one dares to question this guy Ye Chen. Who made him so senior that he was in such a mess? I have to say, Ye Chen is Ye Chen, let him just stay in seclusion and practice all day long or something. That is impossible. What's more, now he doesn't have to deliberately practice anything, the mysterious technique his master gave him since he came out of the nightmare abyss, the speed at which it operates on its own is no different from when he practices seriously. After a day's rest, this guy started wandering around Dao Zong again. Everyone is already used to this. When he arrived near the martial arts training ground, Ye Chen had a strange expression on his face. After all this time, the area around that huge rock is still crowded with people. What a departure. I was just teasing the chief of the law enforcement palace. But now. TSK TSK TSK. Master Uncle. Master Uncle. Along the way, countless people greeted Ye Chen respectfully. Uncle Master, I want to challenge you. Suddenly, a pleasant voice sounded, and the scene immediately became aroused. Almost everyone looked at Ye Chen and the owner of the voice. I saw a stunning girl wearing a white dress, petite and exquisite, appearing not far in front of Ye Chen. She was staring at Ye Chen with fighting intent. After taking a look at the beautiful girl in front of him, Ye Chen couldn't help but be slightly startled. Anyone else challenging themselves? This? Etc. The beauty in front of me seems to be Yang Chu, the #1 evildoer in the inner sect, right? I refuse. After giving Yang Chu a calm look, Ye Chen said lightly. Why? After blinking, Yang Chu was slightly startled. There was also an unconvinced expression on her beautiful face. Is it easy to go into seclusion for more than a month and work hard to improve my cultivation from the late stage of the 3rd heaven of the golden elixir stage to the late stage of the 6th heaven? The reason is to challenge this guy in front of me. The purpose is to prove to everyone that he is the #1 evildoer in Dao Sect. But now, he actually refuses his challenge. Because I don't want to bully anyone. Your level is too low. Spreading his hands, Ye Chen replied seriously. However, at the age of 17, you are already able to practice to this level, which is incredible. Seemingly feeling that what he said was a bit hurtful, Ye Chen added another sentence. It was okay if Ye Chen didn't say it. After saying this, Yang Chu became more determined to challenge Ye Chen. Yes. I am very evil. She knows. Besides, she could have jumped the challenge. How do you know if you are your uncle's opponent without comparing? As for Uncle Master's artistic conception of Dzogchen destruction, just be careful. Anyway, my artistic conception is already close to Dzogchen. If Ye Chen knew what Yang Chu was thinking at this time, he would probably feel dumbfounded, right? I don't care. I have to compete with you. Otherwise, I will bother you all day long. After rolling his eyes, Yang Chu continued. In her opinion, Ye Chen would definitely obey. However, Ye Chen's reaction made her completely dumbfounded. Whatever. Ye Chen shrugged indifferently and said lazily. Then he continued to wander around. Seeing this, Yang Chu was so angry that she stamped her feet. After hesitating for a moment, she followed. Seeing this scene, the melon-eating people around started talking a lot. Hey! Is the little witch quarreling with my uncle? There is a good show to be seen. How normal. Senior sister Yang has always been the #1 evildoer in our Dao Sect, and also the #1 immortal seedling in our Dao Sect. Everything has changed since my uncle came here. No one can accept this kind of gap, right? That makes sense. Do you think they will create sparks? It's not impossible. It's just your seniority. What does seniority mean? How can we cultivators stick to such trivial details? Anyway, Uncle Master and Senior Sister Yang are not related by blood. It seems to make sense. When you put it that way, I think they are quite a match. Really? He. Following Ye Chen, Yang Chu's eyes were opened. Ye Chen's day completely overturned her understanding of this guy. It stands to reason that if this guy is so defiant, he shouldn't be practicing all day long. No matter how talented you are, you still need to spend some time practicing. Unfortunately, in fact, it was completely different from what she thought. Looking at beautiful women around the training ground? Go to the Tibetan scripture pavilion to read some strange and weird classics. Or, just go to Wadea and sit there for a while, dazed. Go to the mission hall and ask around for some random things. Do you want to tease those cranes raised by Dao Zong? Otherwise, just go and chat with some old monsters from the sect. Go and watch people making alchemy and weapons and forming formations. Go to the elixir garden to ask for various seeds, saying you want to plant them for fun. A day passed quietly like this. I'm going back to Star Peak, are you sure you want to follow me? Looking sideways at Yang Chu-Chu, Ye Chen asked with a half-smile. This was the first sentence the two had said since Yang Chu-Chu followed him around. Humph. Pouting her little mouth, Yang Chu-Chu rolled her eyes in dissatisfaction. Master, you are just like this every day. Don't you need to practice? Staring straight into Ye Chen's eyes, Yang Chu-Chu couldn't help but ask. Practice? It's impossible to practice. After a pause, Ye Chen said innocently. Hearing Ye Chen's words, Yang Chu-Chu completely lost her temper. Master, goodbye. As long as you don't agree to accept my challenge, I will still follow you. Waving her hand, Yang Chu-Chu flew away on the sword. This time, it was Ye Chen's turn to be speechless. What a sin! How come there is an extra follower for no reason? Touching his nose, Ye Chen muttered to himself a little depressed. After exhaling, he flew back to Xinxian Peak. Ye Chen's pet, the purple kitten Xiaoqi, still performed as usual. As soon as Ye Chen sat down, it flew over from nowhere and landed on Ye Chen's shoulder. It rubbed Ye Chen's face affectionately and licked him, then curled up and fell asleep with a little snore. Ye Chen was already accustomed to this. Xiaoqi. I said, you eat and sleep all day long, can't you do something else? Ye Chen looked at Xiaoqi with amusement and joked. At this point, he didn't think Xiaoqi was a useless spirit pet. If it hadn't appeared because of it, he would have died in the nightmare abyss, right? Not to mention the fusion of the star core. Chapter 16, Planting Spiritual Plants from Level 1 to Level 9 to Fill the Small World Inside You. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After eating a little, Ye Chen casually took out a space ring. This space ring was given to him by the old monster in the spiritual medicine garden. It contained various spiritual plant seeds. From Level 1 to Level 9. In the words of the old monster, all the spiritual plants that Dao Zong's spiritual medicine garden has, are here. What Dao Zong's spiritual medicine garden doesn't have, is also here. If it were someone else, it would be impossible to ask for such a thing, but who made Ye Chen's status in Dao Zong special? Whatever he wants, as long as he asks, others will not hesitate. Level 1 to 9 Spiritual Plant Seeds. It seems that I don't have to worry about various spiritual medicines and spiritual herbs in the future, Ye Chen muttered to himself, and a smug smile appeared on his face. 9th level spiritual medicines and spiritual herbs. It's already possible to refine 9th grade elixirs. 9th grade elixirs. This can only be consumed by those in the Xianxia realm. Those below this realm will probably explode and die. The scattered immortal realm is already the highest realm in the current immortal cultivation world, right? The highest realm means one must ascend to become an immortal. Ye Chen shook his head gently and put these thoughts behind him. Now, it is too early to say anything. He still needs to test whether the small world in his body can plant these seeds. Besides, isn't his realm still low? He can't refine 2 high-level elixirs. After taking a deep breath, Ye Chen nervously threw the space ring into the small world in his body. His consciousness also entered it. Under Ye Chen's control, hundreds of thousands of various spiritual plant seeds in the space ring were scattered to every corner of his small world. What surprised Ye Chen was, these seeds actually flew to various places by themselves. The higher the level, the closer to the center. I hope it will succeed. Ye Chen said secretly in his heart. His attention was also placed on the seeds in the small world in his body. It didn't take long before Ye Chen finally felt relieved. He was very surprised. Success! It actually worked. Ha ha ha. In the marginal area, various first-level spiritual plants grew wildly at a very fast speed. Rapid reproduction. Various second-level spiritual plants, a little slower. Then came the third-level spiritual plants, the fourth-level spiritual plants, the fifth-level spiritual plants. In less than an hour, the area of 100 miles outside the small world in Ye Chen's body was full of colorful spiritual plants. Further in, there were the sixth-level spiritual plants, which were seedlings of various colors. Then, the seventh-level spiritual plants just broke through the soil. The eighth-level spiritual plants just sprouted. The ninth-level spiritual plant seeds were motionless and lay quietly on the soil. Seeing this, Ye Chen was very satisfied. He was also very proud. From now on, he really didn't have to worry about spiritual herbs and spiritual medicines. Ye Chen didn't care about the unsatisfactory growth rate of the spiritual plants after level 6, anyway, he is only a 4th grade alchemist now. Maybe, he can barely refine a 5th grade pill. Pills above level 6. It's still early. What's the hurry? What surprised Ye Chen even more was the life force in his body. It seems that there is no reduction. Moreover, his internal world is still slowly absorbing the life force from the outside world. It is slowly transformed into the life force and transported to the internal world. This speed is almost negligible. If you don't observe carefully, you can't find it at all. After thinking about it for a while, Ye Chen was relieved. The life force of the internal world comes from a star core. How can it be so easy to consume it? Besides, isn't the internal world also absorbing the life force from the outside world to transform and replenish it? Just when Ye Chen was about to retract his consciousness, he was stunned. I don't know when, this little guy Xiaoqi actually ran into the small world in his body. Then, all kinds of spiritual plants were eaten by it. Some spiritual herbs and spiritual medicinal fruits from level 1 to 5 were reduced at a speed visible to the naked eye, but it's okay. This little guy is not a complete prodigal. It only eats the fruits of the spiritual plants that can be left. When eating spiritual herbs, it also knows to leave seeds or roots. As for those above level 6, it doesn't even look at them. It didn't lie down in a pile of spiritual herbs until its belly was full and fell asleep. Not long after, those spiritual plants that were eaten quickly multiplied and grew all over the original corners. With a helpless smile in his heart, Ye Chen withdrew his consciousness. Opening his eyes, Ye Chen showed a touch of surprise in his eyes. With these spiritual plants in the small world in his body, from now on, he will be a mobile tycoon in the alchemy world. Who has more spiritual herbs and medicines than me? In the future, if I want spiritual stones or something, I can just sell some spiritual medicines. If I don't want to be so wasteful, I can just refine some pills. Thinking about it, he was very proud in his heart. What Ye Chen didn't know was that at this moment, in the meeting hall of Dao Sect, a group of Dao Sect leaders were discussing something. Should the 4 great immortal seedlings of Dao Sect go down the mountain for training, including Ye Chen? Everyone had a very unified opinion on letting the 4 great immortal seedlings go down the mountain for training. They all agreed. They all agreed that flowers in a greenhouse were useless. Just send some guardians to secretly protect the 4 great immortal seedlings. However, when it came to Ye Chen, controversy arose. Some people thought that Ye Chen should be treated the same as the 4 great immortal seedlings. Now, he is at the peak of the late 9th level of the Golden Core stage. It is no longer meaningful to continue staying in Dao Sect. Only by going out for training can he grow up quickly and not waste his heaven-defying talent. Some people also think that Ye Chen should not be allowed to go out for training. He is too evil. If something happens to him, it will be a huge loss and a heavy blow to Dao Sect. He should be made stronger before talking about other things. For Ye Chen, they quarreled fiercely. In the end, there was really no other way, so the headmaster simply invited Ye Chen's master Xuanjizi to come over. Let him go out and gain experience. Otherwise, it's not a good idea for him to stay in Dao Sect all day. Looking at everyone calmly, Xuanjizi made the final decision. If it was before, he would not let Ye Chen go out to gain experience so early. Such a monstrous disciple must be well protected. However, after helping Ye Chen to read the fortune, he changed his mind. Whether Ye Chen is the son of heaven or the man who defies heaven, he is destined not to fall, or, he will not fall too early. So, what is there to worry about? Of course, he will not say these. Chapter 17 Ye Chen's Pursuit. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the blink of an eye, a night passed. Early in the morning, after eating something, Ye Chen left Star Peak again. In fact, it stands to reason that with his current state, he would have been able to stop eating without food. However, as a person who traveled through time, Ye Chen really couldn't develop this habit. Besides, he didn't want to change it. It is worth mentioning that since entering Ye Chen's inner world, the purple kitten Xiaoqi seems to have fallen in love with this place. After it entered, it had no intention of leaving. When I wake up, I will continue to buy all kinds of spiritual plants and elixirs. After eating, I found a comfortable place and continued to sleep soundly. Ye Chen was already numb to this. I can only complain secretly in my heart. It is indeed Xiaoqi. Do cats only eat and sleep? Master Uncle, that just as Ye Chen walked down the Star Peak, a person came towards him. Seeing Yang Chuchu's smiling face and the cunning light in her eyes, Ye Chen completely lost his temper. Say, little beauty, do you think it's cool for you to follow me all day long? Aren't you afraid of being gossiped about? That Ye Chen asked angrily after giving Yang Chuchu a dumbfounded look. Don't be afraid. Whoever dares to talk nonsense, I will tear her mouth to pieces. Pouting his lips, Yang Chuchu said domineeringly. Who told you not to accept my challenge? The next moment, she said with an aggrieved expression. Those who didn't know it thought Ye Chen was bullying her. Besides being speechless, what else could Ye Chen say? Soon, Ye Chen's attention was attracted by Yang Chuchu's next words. A month later, Dao Zong will let a group of disciples go down the mountain to practice for immortal seedlings. And some inner disciples who are above the 6th level of the Golden Core stage. What about me? Subconsciously, Ye Chen asked. You fight me and I'll tell you. After blinking, Yang Chuchu said with a smile, showing his cute little tiger teeth. Then forget it. After saying that, Ye Chen stepped forward and turned around to leave. You. Looking at Ye Chen's back, Yang Chuchu was so angry that her teeth were almost broken. What a weirdo. After complaining in a low voice, Yang Chuchu followed again. Like a little tail, he followed Ye Chen leisurely. She was really curious, what was going on in Ye Chen's mind. Not practicing all day. Don't accept the challenge either. Just know how to wander around. Ye Chen gave Yang Chuchu the impression that this guy was just a fool. However, he is still very strong. It's really annoying. Uncle Master, are you going to repeat what happened yesterday? Seeing Ye Chen coming to the martial arts training ground to look at the beauty again, Yang Chuchu asked with black lines on his face. Is there a problem? Grinning, Ye Chen asked confidently. You're so boring. With great difficulty, Yang Chuchugio held back such a sentence. Really? Ye Chen nodded seriously and said seriously. In an instant, Yang Chuchu lost his temper completely. Huh? Seeing a new figure appear in the martial arts training ground, Ye Chen showed a surprised expression on his face. Lin Wudi? This stupid guy, whom I haven't seen for more than a month, is actually in the late stage of the 2nd level of the Golden Core stage. What's even more interesting is that he actually challenged an inner disciple who was in the early stage of the 4th level of the Golden Core stage, still have the upper hand. Worthy of being one of the 4 great immortal seedlings in the inner sect of Dao Sect. Ye Chen sighed secretly in his heart. Lin Wudi has a domineering body. As one of the top divine bodies, this should not be his limit. The tyrant body gets stronger with each battle. If you don't have the absolute strength advantage to crush him, you will only be defeated by him in the end. Looking in the direction of Ye Chen's gaze, Yang Chuchu said slowly. As soon as Yang Chuchu finished speaking, Lin Wudi's opponent was defeated by him. As if to confirm Yang Chuchu's words, Lin Wudi soon found a new opponent, the early stage of the 6th heaven of the Golden Elixir stage. From being beaten down at the beginning, to being beaten vigorously at the end. I'll just say it. Smiling slightly, Yang Chuchu's pretty face showed a proud smile. Unfortunately, Ye Chen didn't react much at all. This really made her very angry. In her heart, she couldn't help but cursed secretly. At the same time, she was also a little dissatisfied with Dao Zong's rules. Why can't others refuse the challenge of someone with low power? Moreover, the limit of being challenged is 3 times per day. But this guy can do it. Is it just because of his seniority? Interesting. Looking at it, Ye Chen couldn't help but sigh. The person who was fighting against Lin Wudi was a disciple of the inner sect who was in his early 20s, he is a physical practitioner. Now, the two actually chose to fight head-on. There are no fancy moves, no artistic conception or anything like that. Uncle Master, how about we have a fight? Seeing Ye Chen's expression, Yang Chu said eagerly. Not interested. You are no match for me. Without thinking, Ye Chen rejected Yang Chu cleanly. You. Hearing Ye Chen's words, Yang Chu was so angry. Does this guy look down on me? Humph. Not long after, Lin Wudi's opponent was knocked off the ring by him. At this time, Lin Wudi was already exhausted and panting. He saw Ye Chen and Yang Chu inadvertently, hesitated for a moment, and walked towards them. Master Uncle. Little devil, ahem. Senior Sister Yang. Lin Wudi greeted the two of them at the first time. Yang Chu glared at Lin Wudi unhappily, but did not speak. It seemed that she was very dissatisfied with the name that Lin Wudi almost let slip, little witch. Lin Wudi, not bad, Ye Chen said casually, nodding gently. Hee. Scratching his head, Lin Wudi smiled foolishly. Master Uncle, in a month, we will go down the mountain to train. Where are you going? After a long time, Lin Wudi looked at Ye Chen and asked, on the side. Yang Chu also pricked up her ears curiously. She seemed to be very interested in this question. Ye Chen's eyes lit up when he heard Lin Wudi's words. Can I also go out to practice? Thinking about it for a while, he was excited. Me? If possible, the world of cultivation is so big, I plan to go around and see it. Touching his chin, Ye Chen said lightly, as if he was talking about something insignificant. Hearing Ye Chen's words, both of them were a little dumbfounded. Others leave the sect to practice, thinking about where to go to become stronger. This guy is good. Is he going to travel? Is there a problem? Seeing the strange eyes of the two, Ye Chen said innocently. Please. Can you have a little pursuit? Rolling a look at Ye Chen, Yang Chu said unhappily. My pursuit is to live a life of drunkenness and dreams. Chapter 18. Is there a traitor? Xuanjizi is shocked. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Both Yang Chu and Lin Wudi were suffocated for a while, with black lines on their foreheads, living a life of drunkenness and dreams. This is called pursuit. Did the master uncle have any misunderstanding about pursuit? Is there a problem? Looking at the two of them, Ye Chen said confidently. Shouldn't we cultivators work hard to pursue the immortal path? Our ultimate goal is to ascend to the sky. After taking a deep breath and calming down, Yang Chu said word by word. Then what? Looking at Yang Chu, Ye Chen asked with a smile. Suddenly, Yang Chu was choked. Then what? She really hadn't thought about this question. She had reason to believe that few people in the world of immortal cultivation had thought about this question. It was almost rare to be able to cultivate to the realm of scattered immortals, ascension. There might not be one in thousands of years. The main reason is that it is too difficult. After ascending, do you start practicing hard from the bottom of the list? If that's the case, why should we work so hard? In life, just be happy and don't regret it. Spreading his hands, Ye Chen said in a reasonable manner. After hearing Ye Chen's words, Lin Wudi and Yang Chu were stunned. Xuanjizi, don't destroy people's morality, be careful of karma. At this moment, a figure appeared not far in front of the three without any warning. Xuanjizi. Looking at his beloved disciple, Xuanjizi had a helpless look on his face. This kid, it's okay if he doesn't work hard. Anyway, his talent for cultivation is so amazing that practicing casually is better than wasting his life. But now this kid is actually going to lead two of the four great immortal seedlings of Dao Sect astray. Are you kidding me? Greetings, ancestor. Greetings, ancestor. Seeing Xuanjizi appear, Yang Chu and Lin Wudi both bowed respectfully. Then, they both looked at Ye Chen with a smile. In their hearts, Ye Chen seemed to be equated with a big liar. Although their Taoism was still firm, they had to admit it. What Ye Chen said just now seemed to make sense. Ahem. Master, I'm just telling the truth. Pouting, Ye Chen said indifferently. By the way, what do you want to talk to me about? Noticing that Xuanjizi's face was a little wrong, Ye Chen decisively changed the subject. Come with me. After saying that, Xuanjizi waved his hand, and he and Ye Chen disappeared from the spot. Seeing this, Yang Chu and Lin Wudi looked at each other. They were also a little curious. Why did Xuanjizi look for Ye Chen? The next moment, Ye Chen and the others came to his Xingqian peak. Seeing Xuanjizi's solemn expression, Ye Chen was stunned. What's going on? What's wrong? Ye Chen looked at his master with a puzzled look and asked tentatively. This is the first time he has seen his master with such an expression. Xuanjizi has always been calm and composed. But now. Alas, Dao Sect really has a traitor. Xuanjizi sighed and said with a complicated expression. Ye Chen did not react much to Xuanjizi's words. There is a traitor? Isn't this normal? He has reason to believe that there will definitely be many people planted between the major forces. But is there any inevitable relationship between the traitor and himself? This is a bit interesting. The fact that you have a talent for cultivation that goes against the sky has been leaked. Also, the matter of the nightmare abyss has been leaked. Even the matter of your great perfection in the state of destruction has been spread. When he said this, Xuanjizi's old face showed a solemn murderous intent. Ye Chen narrowed his eyes unconsciously when he heard this. His cultivation talent was against the sky. He was not surprised when someone spread it. After all, there were many people in Dao Sect, and this was not a secret. It was normal for someone to let it slip. The same was true for his escape from the nightmare abyss. But, the state of destruction was perfect. This is a bit interesting. Only the high-level officials of Dao Sect and those old monsters knew this. Through their mouths, people related to them might also know it. This is a bit intriguing. Calm down. Master. This is not a big deal. Looking at Xuanjizi, Ye Chen comforted him with a nonchalant look. Do you know that as long as you go out, you will definitely attract the attention of major forces, and even assassination? No force wants other forces to have two evil people rise. Especially, countless people are very interested in the secrets of the nightmare abyss, including some old monsters. Staring at Ye Chen, Xuanjizi said unhappily. So what? I am quite confident in protecting myself. With a grin, Ye Chen said confidently. Hearing Ye Chen's words and seeing his expression, Xuanjizi was stunned again. He was really curious. Where did this kid's confidence come from? The peak of the late 9th level of the Golden Core stage. In such a realm, even if it is against the will of heaven, there is a limit, right? In front of absolute strength, everything is empty. However, when he thought about the backlash he suffered when he told Ye Chen's fortune before, he was relieved again. This kid is different from others. It seems that he is too concerned. The chosen one or the one who defies heaven? This is not so easy to kill. Hee. In fact, I not only have the great perfection of the realm of destruction, but also the realm of space and the realm of life. Looking at Xuanjizi, Ye Chen grinned. What is there to hide from his master? In Ye Chen's heart, Xuanjizi is his relative in this world of cultivation. Ye Chen knows how good he is to him. Hearing Ye Chen's words, Xuanjizi's eyes widened immediately. Damn, even with his state of mind, he couldn't help but swear directly. There was also a roar in his head. Ye Chen's words shocked him completely. Even Xuanjizi was a little doubtful. Did he hear it wrong? Ye Chen comprehended the destruction realm, one of the top 10 artistic conceptions and the most powerful attacking artistic conception, and the key is that it is also a great perfection, which is already very amazing. Now it is said that he comprehended the space realm, which ranks second among the top 10 artistic conceptions. And the life realm, one of the top 10 artistic conceptions with the strongest healing ability. And they are all great perfections. Is this still a human? How many very evil practitioners may not be able to comprehend a top artistic conception in their entire lives? But this kid is good. Comprehended 3 top artistic conceptions at once. And they are all great perfections. The key is that he is still in the Golden Core stage. Is there anything more unacceptable than this? Could it be because of the nightmare abyss? Xuanjizi thought of something at the first time. Say it again. After taking a deep breath and calming down, Xuanjizi stared at Ye Chen's eyes and said, shrugging his shoulders. Ye Chen casually repeated what he had just said. This time, Xuanjizi was completely out of temper. His heart was in turmoil. All true. No wonder this kid is so confident. The state of space of great perfection. As long as it is used properly, escaping from the hands of a master will definitely not be a problem. Add to that the state of life of great perfection. This is simply an indestructible cockroach. No wonder this kid is so confident. You are really perverted. Chapter 19, Making Array Plates Like Crazy, Leaving Dao Sect. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Regarding your master saying that you are a pervert, Ye Chen will never admit it. Not only the cultivation speed is a little faster, but the comprehension ability is a little stronger. How can you say that you are a pervert? Just be an ordinary person, okay? Really? Master, I'm about to go out for training. Shouldn't you give me some life-saving treasures or something? Are there any spiritual stones or something? And looking at Xuanjizi eagerly, Ye Chen changed the question and said, however, before he finished speaking, he was interrupted by Xuanjizi. Don't think so much. I won't give you anything. Xuanjizi waved his hand and said calmly. Why? Subconsciously, Ye Chen asked, his expression also a little twitchy. He was even a little dumbfounded. Give yourself nothing. Master, what's going on? Because you are too lazy. If you are given too many things, you will only become more lazy. Why not let you go out and experience more beatings? In this way, it will be difficult for you to improve your cultivation level quickly, and it will be difficult for you not to work hard. As for what you want, go for it yourself. Looking at Ye Chen calmly, Xuanjizi said calmly. Hearing Xuanjizi's words, Ye Chen was speechless for a while. This? Fortunately, I have a small world inside my body. The worst thing is, when you don't have any spiritual stones, when you want to buy something, just sell some spiritual herbs and elixirs, or alchemy. It is impossible to practice cultivation. Besides, there is no need for me to practice deliberately now. Anyway, your own skills will circulate on the 8 extraordinary meridians in your body. The effect is no different from deliberate practice. All right. Touching his nose, Ye Chen said depressedly. Seeing Ye Chen's deflated look, Xuanjizi couldn't help but laugh heartily. Rare. It's rare. After telling Ye Chen a few words not to expose his other artistic conceptions, Xuanjizi left Xingqian Peak, sitting cross-legged on the boulder in front of the yard. Ye Chen's face was full of anticipation. Can I finally leave Dao Zong? Don't know what the outside world is like. In the following time, Ye Chen basically stayed at Star Peak without leaving home. This made countless people in Dao Zong very curious. What on earth is he doing? This is not like his character. As for the 4 great immortal seedlings of Dao Sect, there are still some disciples who are about to go out for training. They all started a new round of retreat. I hope there will be new breakthroughs before leaving. Similarly, the headmaster of Dao Sect and other senior officials also became busy. They are all busy with one thing. That is, to choose guardians for some of the talented disciples from the sect who go out for training. Certainly. Not everyone is qualified to have a guardian. Only Ye Chen, the 4 great immortal seedlings, and a handful of peerless geniuses were treated like this. Moreover, the higher-ups of Dao Sect would not tell them about the existence of Tao protectors. In fact, the major forces also operate in this way. The purpose is naturally not to want the geniuses under him to become dependent. Are these immortal seedlings and peerless geniuses more or less aware of the existence of guardians? So what? Whether there is or not, they are not sure. This is enough. Unknowingly, a month passed quietly. During this month, Ye Chen has been busy with the same thing, that is, using some of the remaining materials that Xuanjizi gave him before, crazy production of formation discs. After a month, Ye Chen already had thousands of array discs in his hand. There are various arrays from levels 1 to 4. What is sealed inside is naturally a formation of the corresponding level. Ye Chen even made several level 5 formation discs. These 5-level arrays took up almost half of his time. there is a reason why Ye Chen made so many array discs. When necessary, he planned to sell the matrix discs in exchange for spiritual stones or something, or, at a critical moment, use the array formation to create an opportunity to escape. The spiritual plant in the small world inside the body. There's no need, he doesn't plan to sell it directly. That would be such a loss. Besides, they are now Xiaoqi's food rations. Alchemy. Ye Chen thought, the problem is that he doesn't have enough materials. It's really hard for a clever woman to make a meal without rice. The rest of Dao Zong seemed to have received special instructions from his master, and now they refused to give him anything. Apparently, Xuanjizi was determined to make Ye Chen hard work. Finally done. It's almost time, right? Standing up and stretching, Ye Chen said to himself. Ye Chen felt extremely excited at the thought of leaving Dao Zong, immortal cultivation world. Here I come. In his heart, he shouted secretly. After putting the array disc into the space ring, Ye Chen decisively washed up. After a month of busy work, he is almost turning into a savage. Just after Ye Chen washed up and was eating, his sound transmission stone suddenly rang, gathering at the martial arts training ground. Ha ha. Finally leaving. After laughing, Ye Chen's figure suddenly disappeared from the place. When he appeared again, his figure had already landed on the martial arts training ground. At this time, there were more than 1,000 people gathered in the martial arts training ground. Among them, the 4 immortal seedlings were naturally standing in the front. The martial arts training ground was also surrounded by disciples from the inner and outer sects of the Dao Sect. They all looked at the people in the martial arts training ground with envy. Ye Chen's appearance immediately attracted the attention of almost everyone at the scene. There was no way. He was the most dazzling existence in the Dao Sect now, and it would be difficult not to attract attention. Without any hesitation, Ye Chen stood directly in front of the 4 immortal seedlings. Okay, since everyone is here, let's start. In the sky, a handsome middle-aged man in a white robe said loudly. He was the head of the Dao Sect, Jun Wuxia. He was a terrifying peak powerhouse in the late 9th heaven of the crossing tribulation period. He was only one step away from the scattered immortal realm. It can be said without hesitation that among the high-level people of the Dao Sect, he was a crane that stood out from the crowd, because, the strength of other high-level people is basically at the peak of the nascent soul or the spiritualization stage. There are also 1 or 2 Mahayana stages. As for other masters above the tribulation stage, which one is not an old monster of the sect? In the sky, in addition to Jun Wuxia, there are 8 old monster-level beings. His words were spoken to the 8 people. As soon as Jun Wuxia finished speaking, the 8 people quickly built a large teleportation array in the air. They turned out to be array masters. This is a random teleportation array. Next, you may be teleported to any corner of the East region. It is also possible to be teleported to any place outside the East region. After leaving Dao Sect, you can only rely on yourself in the future. I hope you can all come back alive. Jun Wuxia said slowly after scanning everyone in the martial arts training field. Hearing Jun Wuxia's words, Ye Chen's face became a little strange. He also showed a thoughtful look in his eyes. As a formation master, a genius formation master, he can still see the doorway of this giant teleportation array. This is a random teleportation array. However, this teleportation array actually hides a directional pocket teleportation array. He would never think that this would be a coincidence or anything. This is a bit intriguing. What is the purpose of the sect doing this? Interesting. It is really interesting. Let's all enter the teleportation array. Chapter 20 Leaving Dao Zong. Falling into a strange forest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As Jun Wuxia finished speaking, thousands of people flew into the teleportation array in an orderly manner. Eventually, each one turned into a white point of light and disappeared. It is worth mentioning that, at Jun Wuxia's signal, those who left first were ordinary geniuses. Then, there are some monsters. Finally, there are the 4 immortal seedlings and Ye Chen. Just after all the Dao Sect disciples who went out to practice left, another 40 people walked into the formation. Without exception, they are all old monsters above the Mahayana stage. If Ye Chen were here, he would be surprised to find out these old monsters actually left through those directional pocket teleportation arrays in the huge teleportation array. As these old monsters left, the giant teleportation array was quickly annihilated out of thin air. The figures of Jun Wuxia and others also disappeared from the sky in an instant. Deep inside Dao Zong, in front of a simple thatched house, Xuanjizi was making tea happily. At this moment, a figure appeared in front of Xuanjizi. This figure is none other than Jun Wuxia. Master Uncle. Looking at Xuanjizi, Jun Wuxia bowed respectfully and saluted. Everyone left. Xianjizi asked calmly after looking up at Jun Wuxia. Everyone left. Jun Wuxia nodded slightly and replied. Only. Then, he looked at Xianjizi without hesitating to speak. If you have anything to say, just say it. Xuanjizi gave Jun Wuxia a funny look and laughed dumbly. I can understand that other genius guardians are Mahayana masters. But the four great immortal seedlings are all protectors of the tribulation stage. Why is Master Ye's protector also of the Mahayana stage? Looking at Xuanjizi, Jun Wuxia's eyes were full of confusion. That's right. This time, the four immortal seedlings and Ye Chen's guardians were all arranged by Xuanjizi. Other talented guardians came from the hands of a group of senior officials headed by Jun Wuxia. Moreover, they also consulted Xuanjizi for his opinion, but Xuanjizi had no opinion. The four great immortal seedlings, Ye Chen and their guardians, Jun Wuxia and others only found out after Ye Chen and the others left. Is it difficult to understand? The four great immortal seedlings have long been targeted by the major forces, and they are facing the greatest danger. Therefore, it is safer to send protectors to protect them during the tribulation period. As for Xuanjizi, he may be very famous now, but his rise speed and the things he has done are a bit exaggerated. The major forces may not believe his deeds. It is enough to send a Mahayana protector to protect him. Putting down the teapot in his hand, Xuanjizi said slowly. But Jun Wuxia frowned, with a worried look on his face, just in case. What if the major forces are really targeting Uncle Yi? His value is greater than the four immortal seedlings combined. It is not an exaggeration to say that it is the future of Dao Zong. No buts. Xuanjizi shook his head slightly and said calmly. Okay, I'm going to rest. Go and do your business. Then, Xuanjizi said something else. Yes. With a helpless sigh, Jun Wuxia's figure instantly disappeared from the place. Looking at Jun Wuxia's leaving figure, Xuanjizi secretly shook his head. What he didn't say was, if it wasn't for the purpose of deceiving others, he wouldn't have arranged a protector for Ye Chen at all, because he understood that it really didn't make much sense to arrange a guardian for Ye Chen. What if Ye Chen was the chosen one? His luck must be very unnatural. Even if there is no protector, no matter what trouble, dilemma, or suffering he encounters, he will definitely turn the danger into good luck, turn danger into safety, and finally get various opportunities, and he will definitely be able to grow up quickly. What if this kid is a rebellious person? That would be even more interesting. This kid may suffer a lot, but he will definitely get a lot of opportunities. It is impossible for a person who defies heaven to die in the hands of ordinary people. It can also be said that it is completely impossible to die in human hands. They will only die under the will of heaven. Before their body dies and the spirit disappears, their growth rate can definitely be called unparalleled. If you don't die under the law of heaven in the end, then, after entering the giant teleportation array, Ye Chen only felt the world spinning. Not long after, he fell from the sky. Finally, Ye Chen fell into a mountain range. After glancing at the surrounding scene, Ye Chen showed an expression of surprise on his face. Surrounded by ancient trees reaching into the sky, and various bushes of various human heights, the air is actually filled with a faint smell of blood, etc. Also, the laws of this world seem a bit confusing. Is there almost no spiritual energy? It's such a weird place. I don't know where this is. After muttering to himself, Ye Chen showed a curious expression on his face. Why are there not even some insects chirping around? As for the shadows of other creatures, Ye Chen's consciousness covered dozens of miles around and found nothing. This is a bit weird. After thinking about it, Ye Chen found a direction and started moving forward. A stick of incense has passed, an hour passed, before I knew it, half a day passed. Ye Chen has traveled thousands of miles. However, he still hasn't walked out of this strange forest. Ye Chen once doubted whether he had accidentally entered some powerful formation. However, as a genius formation master, he didn't find anything after studying all the way. Finally, he came to a conclusion that this was an extremely strange forest. It was about to get dark, and Ye Chen was about to take a rest. He glanced at the distance inadvertently, and Ye Chen was slightly stunned. It can be vaguely seen that there is a white ocean dozens of miles away. His spiritual sense covered it, and when he knew what the white ocean was, his pupils couldn't help shrinking slightly. Skeletons. A vast expanse of white skeletons. A mountain of complete skeletons and various debris. There are human, beast, and various strange and unknown creatures. Among these skeletons, various rusty weapons can be seen everywhere. Many weapons have been weathered. After withdrawing his consciousness, Ye Chen showed a shocked expression on his face, because he found that it was not just a sea of bones. He found something else in those bones and debris. Ye Chen found that the strength of those skeletons before they died was actually at least in the nascent soul stage. This is a bit exaggerated. Could it be? Is this an ancient battlefield? Ye Chen couldn't help but guess secretly in his heart. After resting for a while, he hesitated for a while, and Ye Chen decisively chose to move forward. Not long after, Ye Chen came to the edge of the sea of bones.